All right, you beautiful humans, it's a plethora of talent, and it's just me. I'm only kidding. Welcome to another edition of Devil's Advocate, bringing you a preview of Man United versus Omonia, which is live tomorrow at 8 o'clock UK time. Unless you're in the US, then it's probably the back of 2, depending on where you are. If you're in Australia, it'll be the following morning. Unlucky for you. But either way, it's going to be a good one. But joining me tonight, it's Marc, Kevin, and when his internet appears, it will be Jamie. How are you, gents?
Fine. And you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Got my Pepsi Max, so I'm all good to go. What about you, Marc?
Max,
when you plan on shaving that bloody beard?
I don't mind my beard sorted tomorrow, actually. I'm going on holiday on Friday. So it's a bit touch and go, and I'm getting my hair and beard sorted tomorrow. So thanks for asking. It's not normally a question that I receive from one of my mates, so I appreciate it. But yeah, ready to talk about tomorrow night's game.
Absolutely. And before we do anything, just a quick hello, because he's definitely in the live chat when it wants to. Now's a good time, stream, you little bitch. Hello, King. Good evening to you, mate. Hope you're doing well. I don't know why I sounded like an Australian there. That was quite embarrassing. But all in all, good stream we've got planned. About 45 minutes to an hour we're going to go tonight for you guys who are watching. But do hit that like button, subscribe, and share this if you can. Follow Sports Armchair for us on Twitter, and here he is as well. Hello, Jamie, you handsome devil. And another one. Good evening, John. We may as well dive through it, lads. We'll start off with reviewing, which I thought was actually a decent game at the weekend, depending on how you view the last 5 minutes, but we'll see how it goes. But Kevin, I'm going to come at you first. Like the Man United game versus Everton, we did start really well, although we were a little bit sloppy with the Casemiro incident with like losing the ball quite early on. Obviously, Iwobi got to be fair, it was a really good goal. Good goal for him, obviously, against us. But the way we responded, I thought, was very impressive considering how we normally do. We drop off. But for yourself, what was your overall thoughts on the win at the weekend?
I mean, they seem to start. They seem to pounce on Casemiro. I think was it his first start in the Premier League for us?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so they just seem to, see how he is, and his first few touches were pretty poor. So I think they saw some weakness in that. So they really, every time he got the ball, Onana or anyone would just be right on him, and that definitely caused him to lose the ball there for their goal. For another 25 minutes, he was pretty shaky after that as well. But eventually we got things sorted. And it was one of the we usually don't have to come back and get a goal. For most of our Premier League games, it's us sit back the whole time, counter-attack, get a goal, and then counter-attack again. So it was a bit different. And thank God Jermaine Pickford did not score, because I would not have been able to show myself in public.
Like a salmon, though, didn't he?
I'll ask you all this question tonight as I get your opinions on it, but I just want to ask you, what did you think of the selection by Ten Hag? And as a flip side, what did you also think about Lampard's team selection against us as well? Do you think we set up the right way to deal with them based on how they started? So I'm going to ask you each of that question, but I'll go with you as well, Kevin, as you were in mid-conversation. So what did you think of Ten Hag's selection, and what did you think of Lampard's as well from an opposition point of view?
Yeah, well, he went to I'll just start with United. He went to risk Martial, which I suppose it paid off or didn't pay off, whichever way you look at it. Got an assist, and he was out of it after 25 minutes. He must have got injured earlier than that. So I mean, that Casemiro first game. I suppose I'm not sure about Varane now. He's training on his own, of course, again. he got on the bench, which was a bit strange. If your best I think he's the best centre defender. If he's fit, you play him. If he's not fit, you don't put him on the bench. So that was a bit strange for me. But it was definitely better from Lindelof and Martinez, because our last game against Omonia, they definitely looked like two guys who had never played together before. And thankfully they were better, still shaky. When it's the two of them, the long ball certainly seems to be a problem, that kind of straight long ball. But definitely a bit better than our game in Europe last week. Lampard, he seemed to go with more strength. He went for definitely in their midfield. He went for bigger guys, and a lot of their balls were the straight long balls. So I think that was the plan from Lampard, and the high press. He went for a very high press. So yeah, I think to be honest, it was for some. I thought Martial getting injured and Ronaldo coming off actually might have benefited them, but because we didn't have the real pace on the break with Martial, even though when they were pressing high, but amazingly it seemed to work out for us. But yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the long ball approach at times was actually benefiting Everton. The only thing is they just couldn't maintain the press. I think they were a little bit shaky as well when they were caught off guard when we had possession of the ball. We just picked them apart. But no, I do agree. Like the way they played, like the long ball did suit them, especially with the bigger players in there. Like you mentioned, Onana. I thought Gana Gueye was very impressive as well for them in midfield. The Iwobi stand out. I said on the preview show, I didn't think Anthony Gordon was going to do anything, and well, I was right in the end. He did absolutely nothing. But all in all, I thought I was actually more impressed with that, and I thought their centre-back partnership was actually quite good at times as well, like especially handling. They did handle Ronaldo a few times, but once the game dragged on, they just couldn't really. They were just too tired. And it was no surprise that we did pick them apart. Mark, I'm going to come on to yourself. More or less the same questions, buddy. What was your thoughts on the game? What did you think of the team selection? And just based on Lampard, because obviously we did give him a bit of positivity at the weekend. We did give him fair comments as well, but yeah, we also did critique him a little bit, which is the right thing to do. But what did you think of his team selection as well? What did you think of Everton? Like, what did you think from that as well?
Yeah, well, as you already sort of alluded to, we had a conversation about how much more improvement has happened at Everton. I think he's doing a much better job. He's bought some very good players, and I think that they're ticking along a lot nicely because they've got some midfield players that are technically better and can control a game of football. I thought that they didn't really cause us too many problems. And I think that we set up as I expected to. Actually, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, but I guessed all 11, and I really felt that Casemiro would start. I really felt that Eriksen, obviously, with the amount of minutes he's played, would start alongside him, and I think that they all played very, very well. I expected that front three as well. It's a shame about Martial. I hope he can obviously make a recovery. But yeah, I think we'll see Ronaldo more and more as time goes on, to be honest with you. I think Ten Hag's comments about Ronaldo being unfit, not quite in shape, not up to match fitness, I think were all very true. And I think that you're slowly starting to see him, even against Omonia last week. I've said to Jamie the other day, actually, I felt like he played very well. He created a lot of space for himself. He was bringing a lot of players into the game. The only thing that didn't happen is that he couldn't finish. And then on Sunday, played very well against Everton when he came on, and made that goal look easy. It was a very difficult finish, and did very, very well. So I do expect him to start tomorrow, and I think he'll probably get a full 90, depending on whether we're a few goals up. And I think we set up brilliantly. I think Everton, 6 games unbeaten at the time, only conceded 7 goals in the league at the time. It was always going to be a very, very difficult game, playing at Goodison as well, and they are really a 12th man. we were going to always struggle. But I think Ten Hag needs to be given credit. I know he is by a lot of fans, but I think, just when we think he's going to go down one route we're not sure if he's going to change it, he does. He seems to do it every week. I think he reacts very well. I think he does address the opposition very, very well. And I think he's done a magnificent job and is learning very quickly. And I was very pleased with the team performance. Should have been 3-1. Bit unfortunate, but I'm very, very pleased with how they performed on Sunday.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I'll be coming on to that 3-1 very shortly. But for yourself, Jamie, sitting there patiently, looking like you're thinking about Peroni. I'm only kidding, but what was your opinions of the game at the weekend? What was your overall opinion, and what did you think of the selection as well?
Yeah, we've said it a few times on the channel that we think that Ten Hag obviously has in his head what his strongest 11 is, but the problem that he's had is when players have been performing well, he doesn't have an excuse to replace them. Marc and I spoke about this in post game as well. McTominay opened the door for Casemiro to come in. Obviously, the City game was a bit of a misnomer anyway. No one really performed very well, but McTominay especially was poor. So that was the opportunity that Casemiro had been waiting for, and he came in. And granted, he was obviously at fault for the first. It was a really weird performance for him, but he grew into the game. And obviously, me, you, and Jamie Reece, when we did the show, when it had been announced, we said that it might take some time for him to get used to the physicality of the Premier League, the speed of the Premier League, and I think we've seen that. Ten Hag's wanted to ease him in. He's gone from playing in a midfield three with two of the best midfielders in the world into a side that's been dysfunctional at best in midfield over the last few seasons. So Agreed. The last thing he wanted to do was obviously rush him in. He has a bad game, it shatters his confidence or whatever, and people are already calling for him to be hooked. So I think he's managed him well. His start to... I think I've disappeared, Anna.
No, you're still here.
No. You're still here. He might be going now, though.
Yeah, he's gone now.
What a lovely still picture of his face, though.
Absolutely. I mean, I was so tempted to just make that full screen. Just for himself, just to wind him up a little bit.
I'm back.
Yep, you're back.
I'm back. Did you say did it freeze on me? Did it freeze on me? Did you make me full screen and mug me off?
I was tempted to.
So I think his introduction to the Everton game, I think it was a good time for him. McTominay needed a break clearly, the same way that he treated Shaw as well. Last year obviously didn't have the best game. Oh, bro, what is going on with my internet?
You're fine. Keep going.
Yeah, he's gone.
I think he's froze now.
I don't know. This never happens to me. Like my internet's usually absolutely solid.
It's good. There's no beef.
So I do apologise.
It's all right. It's okay. It's like a barn dance. It's in one end, out the other.
Again.
Yep, definitely. He's got such bad luck. His internet's got the Midas touch on him tonight. I think what I will do is I'll just whilst he's recovering with his internet, I will come back to Jamie in a little bit. But I just wanted to ask, in terms of one milestone that finally did happen, it was obviously Ronaldo's goal. Just for yourselves, that was well taken. The delivery of Casemiro as well, to pick that pass when you would expect it from Eriksen as well, who at times had the best of games as well, but that's not through his fault. It was just overworked, but his movement to get away from that, perfection. Sorry, I just had to do that because it's Liverpool. But in the meantime,
that is good.
That pass was brilliant. The movement as well to lure Everton. Everton didn't really know how to cope with that. I don't think they actually expected Casemiro to actually do anything with the ball. I think they would have expected it maybe to go to Eriksen to play the ball through, and then you'd get maybe Ronaldo running in. But instead, Casemiro goes for it, plays it through 4 or 5 players, and Ronaldo brilliantly finished him with his left foot. For yourself, Kevin, what did you make of that overall play, and what did you think about seeing the goal as well?
Well, I mean, for that goal, the quick pass from the defensive midfielder when the other team has a press and there's a lot of room in behind, a pass like that straight in behind, there's nobody there to mark,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that's I think the big reason for that goal. Beating at the near post, Pickford maybe can be a bit disappointed with himself, but it was a good it was a good finish. So that goal, that assist from Casemiro, I think cost us 4 goals in against Omonia last week, because everybody wanted to get the assist for Ronaldo. And I think we could have had 4 more goals in that match had it not been for everyone. It looked like I said this to a bunch of friends. It looked like a dad trying to get his 2-year-old son to kick the ball into the back of the net in his back garden at times. So it definitely cost us a lot of goals, but it was a good pass through from Casemiro. That's what happens when you have a high press. If you can get that ball perfect, 1 in 100 really, but if you can get it perfect, you're straight in behind, and there's nothing they can do really.
Yeah, absolutely. But in the bounce of that, obviously Jamie has dropped out, but he will return. Mark, for yourself there, what did you think about the overall play, and especially in the build up to the goal, like the Casemiro, like not just his pass but the movement as well, and then obviously Ronaldo, expert finishing. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was good build-up play. I think Casemiro was his own worst enemy at points, but came back and did some very, very great things. And he's a good player. I said before, and Jamie hit the nail on the head earlier. He just needed a little bit of time to integrate, and I think Ten Hag has done a terrific job with that. And I think Jamie's absolutely spot on. People sometimes have to have a little bit more patience. Anyway, yeah, I think it was a fantastic setup from deep, and obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Ronaldo's finish was incredible. Not an easy one, and did a great job. That's what we know and love Ronaldo best for, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him this season. He'll get far more goals. I'm absolutely certain of that. And you know what? We've had some poor games, but we've also had some very, very good games. And, that's without Ronaldo's goals. We do need to start scoring more. And if he's going to become obviously fitter, more match sharp, it's only going to bode well for us. And it's a great problem to have. Now, I did see something today, and I know Souness said this too. But if Haaland, with the amount of goals that he's currently on, was to score 43 goals every season for the next 16 season, he will catch up to the numbers that Ronaldo's got, which is quite incredible. And yeah, 700 goals is unbelievable, and it's just a shame that he's coming to the twilight.
Absolutely. And in retrospect, Ronaldo's come to the twilight, but there's somebody who's on the ascendancy. It's first ever Manchester United player to score these 3 goals in his first Premier League games. He's Brazilian. His passport is definitely Brazilian. On the back of this, a certain Mr. Antony. Brilliant start he's had. He had a brilliant goal against Arsenal. Brilliant goal against Manchester City. Brilliant goal against Everton. Honestly, like, I'm going to put the floor to both of you. Like, whichever one of you wants to come in first, I really don't mind on this one, because this is well deserved for this performance. But for yourself, what did you think of his performance, and what did you think of that goal? Because that is just pure brilliance. Either of you, honestly, go ahead, just take me by surprise.
We've had lots of conversations about Antony, and I haven't watched him as much as you have, and obviously you're very sort of good when it comes to knowledge about other players and other leagues. I know you watch a lot, and it's always good to hear your opinion. I had my reservations. I was excited about him. I had my reservations purely because his goal contributions really for Ajax wasn't very good. He had the technical ability, great as a right winger, great at taking on players, but the goal contributions is something that we need to embed into our team as well. And it was a concern for me. But listen, he's come in. He's got a very bold attitude, which I love. I love it when players have not like an egotistical personality, but sometimes just knowing that little bit of confidence, that little bit of know-how, and that belief in yourself, which he clearly does. I think that's a huge positive, and I like that. Now he's come into the team, broken a record, and you can't ask for any more than that. Listen, if he ends up scoring another goal every game for the rest of the season, that's wonderful return. So we just have to wait and see how it happens. But I think, his overall game hasn't been excellent. Jamie corrected me the other day, actually, where he has looked to take players on, has looked to give us that other dynamic. And I think he's been pretty good. A lot more to improve on. I think his tracking back, particularly in the last couple of games, has been excellent. Much better, at least from the first couple. He's listening to his manager. The manager has clearly got faith in him, which is really, really good to see. And look, 3 goals in 3 games. 1 against Arsenal, 1 against Everton, and who was the other one? Can't remember. But thank you. Yes, sorry. Yeah, that's why I tried to forget it. He's fantastic, and he's not even got out of second gear. Honestly, I think we're going to see some games when he's playing brilliantly. He's an exciting prospect. I'm really, really pleased about him, and I think it just goes to show one thing, that we have to trust in what Erik ten Hag wants, because none of them have let us down yet.
Absolutely. What about yourself, Kevin? Just on the back of that, like his overall game and the goal. What about yourself?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous when we got him as well. Just for the money paid for him, really, a lot of money for a guy who from the Dutch league, who hasn't blown up yet, which he might do. But bold personality, running over to the Arsenal fans, kissing the badge straight away. That was brilliant. Dalot is looking tired, so we do need him to continue helping him like he did in the last match, because we don't seem to have any other right backs, or we do have one, but I forgot his name anyway. Only remembered about Wan-Bissaka today. I think he's still injured, isn't he? But he's a guy. He's not going to get too many assists, and the simple reason being, very left-footed, playing on the right wing, will always have to cut in. Really, he doesn't. He looks a lot like Arjen Robben when it comes to needing the left foot.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'll get a huge amount of assists from him, but definitely that bending shot to the far post, he seems to have that perfectly. Unlucky not to score against Omonia he could have had 2. One was a unbelievable save from their goalkeeper, and the other one, he should have been more selfish, try to get it to Bruno. But he has been impressive. Tricks, brilliant. So sometimes it's really been disappointing. Sometimes our other players have just been too frightened to take players on for some reason. I don't know if it's Rashford when he's over there playing on the left. Is he just uncomfortable there? And then Sancho just seems to, his confidence sometimes just seems to be disappointing. And Anthony just seems like a guy who has unlimited confidence. So it's really great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I love the fact that he's playing more to his strengths. He's being less predictable, which obviously was expected. I'm liking that he's actually changing things up. Eventually, you'll see him getting more behind. A couple of wee comments here. This one stands out. Shite. Comment from Hella has been consistent type of comments. Anthony scores out the blue. He'll develop his all over game, only getting warm. Absolutely. Brilliant comment here from Exhibit, I think. Yeah.
Exhibit.
Welcome to the channel, and welcome to tonight's show as well. What I love from Anthony is actually when he loses the ball, not just tracking back, but he really does press back, even opposition nutmeg or humiliate him. His attitude, yeah, exactly. He's more than willing to try new things, to find different ways to get in. Like, they'll give us an opportunity to get at least an attack going, whether at least a goal or not. At least he's still willing to try different things. One comment that does stand out, obviously, is Hella's comment. I still suffer from PTSD after the last 5 minutes of Goodison. We are going to move on very shortly, but I'm actually going to ask about that. That wave, obviously, good. There was two good things to come from that. One, Everton didn't score, and two, De Gea's positioning was actually far more improved. I think one thing that does stand out from this now is because he was clearing a few crosses is love him or hate him, first choice, not first choice. The one thing that he cannot do now is hide. He's shown that he can do this now. He has, like, it doesn't matter what opposition it is, doesn't matter if it's Omonia tomorrow night if he plays, doesn't matter if it's Newcastle at the weekend, he has virtually no excuse now to replicate that performance that he done against Everton. He has got to continue. Just want to get yourself on that, Mark. You agree with that? Do you disagree? Like about De Gea?
Yeah, listen, I've had this conversation about David De Gea many times, and listen, he's been a wonderful goalkeeper for us over the years. One of the best, absolutely no discrepancy with that at all. However, he doesn't really suit Ten Hag. Has never been commanding in the box. Has been a wonderful shot stopper. Has never sort of been very vocal with his defence, and consequently, that's made him very vulnerable. I think that with Dubravka coming in, potentially other goalkeepers looked in the summer as well. I think that his place is certainly not in danger, but certainly up for grabs if Ten Hag doesn't see him as the right man. But he was a totally different goalkeeper on Sunday. It was almost like a switch had happened, and when you played against Everton, you saw a totally different man. And this is great. This is exactly what you want. He's not old. He's still got some time left in him. We've seen all the positives that he does give us, and if he's able to adapt his goalkeeping style, then I'm all for that. It saves us having to go out for another goalkeeper, potentially spending a little bit of money, and we can utilize that in other areas. But yeah, I thought he was excellent, and honestly, it was really surprising to see just how different he was at the weekend. So long may that continue, and if it does, then you can't give him any discredit.
Absolutely. And yourself, Kevin, do you think you back up those comments? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. But I mean, he definitely had plenty of opportunities with their long ball, and I think he's going to have to continue to play like that, because I think other teams are going to try that, since it seems like Martinez is number one choice every game in, game out. And against Newcastle, you'll see it, because Alexander Isak, he's about 6'4", so I'm guessing Newcastle will try it a few times. So I think he's going to have to. He's definitely going to have to keep that up.
Absolutely. And we are just going to move on a little bit here, because I want to bring up the team news. Thankfully, the lovely Mark did send it to me, because I had it earlier on, but it means having to go through a group chat that's got so many messages in it. I am not going to bother. So I'm just going to go through
I did. Don't worry, I did.
I know, I appreciate it. So we're going through the training squad, and guys, we'll come to it shortly. I want to get your team, your score predictions, except for Hella, because we know she does not make score predictions, which is completely fine with me. But get your team lineups that you're predicting for. But our training squad is as normal: De Gea, Heaton, and Dubravka, the three goalkeepers. Martinez, Shaw, Dalot, Malacia, Lindelof, Fred, Iqbal, Bruno Fernandes, McTominay, Casemiro, Eriksen, Antony, Sancho, Palestri, Garnacho, Langa, Shola Shortier, Ronaldo, and Rashford. Just in the back of that, and obviously we do know that Raphael Varane has trained on his own. I'll get your opinions on that in 1 second. But just by basing the squad on that, how would you like to see the team tomorrow? I'll start with you, Kevin. Based on that as well, obviously I do agree with Exhibit, like some rotation needs to be done. Although we do need the win, we have got a good enough squad to get the points. But if you were Ten Hag, how would you line up tomorrow?
So it is an interesting one, because we do need to win this game. Now, to score, our goal difference isn't very good, but I believe it's head to head, isn't it? And so it'll be head against. So I think we'll go with a pretty half and half squad, but there will be substitutions made. I think No, he's not going to replace De Gea. I don't think it's. We just haven't. When we need to win this match. I mean, and we can't show flaws like we did last week.
Agreed.
I'd love to see Dallo get a rest, but he can't get a rest. That's a bit of a problem. I think it'll be Lindelof again with Martinez again. I don't think Varane will play. So on the left, I think he might go with Malacia. He might bring him back in. The drop there against Everton might have been a kind of a kick up the rear. Casemiro, I do think, not McTominay. Now, the Eriksen's another guy that you really need you really want to get a rest, but who would he play in there to keep his formation going, and against a team like Omonia, who I think won't be as confident this time. He's a really good guy to pick them apart. So the Eriksen one now, that would confuse me if he'll play or not. I think he will go with Sancho. I think Elanga will come on later on. He'll go with Ronaldo, and it's Bruno. I'm sure Bruno will play. I'm sure the team will be pretty similar, but there will be substitutions made earlier on, because I think we will have this done earlier on. I don't think Omonia are going to put up the same fight. To put up your best fight at home and still lose, I think that shakes confidence.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I'm just looking at Exhibit's comments. So he's gone De Gea, Varane, Lindelof as the centre-back partnerships, Malacia right back, Shaw left back, Casemiro, Fred, Bruno, Anthony, Rashford, Ronaldo. Very strong, very strong. He's saying Eriksen, Martinez, Dallo really need to rest. I do agree. And elaborated his comment. The reason I chose Varane instead of Martinez is we need Varane to get back on form before Chelsea game or even Spurs. Absolutely, Varane is not in the best of form at the minute. He is making very sloppy errors. I mean, Martinez is having to cover him a fair bit at the moment. The only thing is, though, is we're not conceding a lot of goals, so it doesn't look as clear and obvious. But he hasn't been in the best bets because he's played so many games. He's just tired. Martinez doesn't look tired, but we do need to rotate. Marc, based on the squad we do have, the options we do have, particularly in key areas, is there any changes you would make to that, or would you want to go out as strong as possible? How would you take it from tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's a really tough one to call tomorrow, actually. I think that there will be some changes. I think Varane, you probably will see. I think David De Gea will play tomorrow. I mean, if Dubravka's now back from injury, which I believe he is, then I think you could see him. I think David De Gea probably does need a rest, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I think it's very difficult to see who will play instead of Dallo. I think that Varane will play. I think obviously we saw him at the weekend very briefly. I think we need to get him to match fitness. I absolutely agree with Exhibit in the comments. I think that we could see Varane and Lindelof. I think Lindelof probably still needs minutes. Exhibit made a comment earlier last week, and he's absolutely spot on. It did look a little bit suspect at the back, and that's because Lindelof had obviously been injured, and it was his first game returning with a little bit more minutes and stuff. I really love Lindelof. I've said this for so long. I think he is a very good defender. He played a huge amount under Mourinho, was solid. He played a huge amount under Oli. Obviously, it was solid pretty much. I think he's a very, very, very good backup centre back, and we all know his ability. And I think ultimately, if he gets more minutes in, will only benefit him. I think for midfield, actually, McTominay is suspended for the next game in the Premier League. So I think we will see him tomorrow. I think you might see him alongside Casemiro. Actually, I think McTominay might play a little bit further forward. I think Eriksen could be dropped. I think Bruno will probably still get that chance. I think it's a bit difficult in the number 10 role. We don't really have too many 10 replacements, certainly not if Donny van der Beek is not getting a look in. And by all accounts, Leicester are very interested. And then for a front three, I think you might see Elanga again. I think you might see Rashford again. And I think Ronaldo will start.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I'm more inclined to agree with you on that one. Like with McTominay not available, we don't necessarily need him to be match fit for the weekend. But at least with minutes under his belt, he's not going to be as tired come midweek. Because also we are, as I've put in the chat, we are playing Sunday as well. Then we're playing on the Wednesday. Then we're playing again on the Saturday, and then it's back to the Europa League action on the Thursday because the annoyance of it. I'm inclined to agree. I don't think De Gea is going to get dropped, but I do like the idea of Lindelof playing at right back. I know he doesn't necessarily have the pace, but it does give Dalot that crucial rest. It lets Varane slot in. They've got a good connection there. If Martinez has to play, that's fine. There's still the option that maybe Maguire gets a run in, see if he can get back to his form. But then again, mind you, he's not even in the squad, so I doubt he's going to be involved. Could we see a system change? That's an interesting one. I think one thing we do need to do is we need to manage the squad a lot better. Ten Hag, he is good at managing rotation. It's just we've not seen it yet. We do need to have a little bit of a change. I think Tominay starting is good for Eriksen. Let Eriksen rest if he wants to. He can bring him on for 30 minutes in the second half if we need it. I think there's a possibility that he might bring Zidane Iqbal off the bench. I would like to see Elanga start. It's just where do you put him? Do you want to give Anthony a rest even though Anthony's been superb? Possibly.
Yeah, I think that's quite possible. I really do. You know, Anthony's played a lot recently. I know we want him to get minutes of match sharpness or at least sort of get embedded into the team. But I think, if Elanga started over him, that would be fine. Yeah,
because we know he will put the minutes in, he will track. There is certainly that option there. There's a comment here from Exhibit. We don't have an option for the 10th yet. You're absolutely right. Eriksen's already tried Ten Hag, Fred, Eriksen, Van de Beek in the position and totally failed, especially Fred. Yeah, Fred definitely should not have played there. Like I said that on that review show that he should have played in the 8 role. It should have been Eriksen in the 10, but it's highly unlikely unless we just play a 4-3-3. Eriksen and Fred as the 2 in front of Casemiro in that lone role. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the madness that's McFred. He could leave Casemiro out starting. He could start Casemiro against Newcastle.
Just to interject, sorry, buddy. When we play a 4-2-1-3, it basically is a 4-3-3 when you're in possession. So you'll always have Casemiro, McTominay, whoever it is in that 6, and you always have, even though on paper it says 4-2-3-1, it's not. It's just someone in front of the defence who will always be there, and it will be 4-3-3 going forward with the ball, but 4-2-3-1 on the defensive, and then you just have that person get in between. And my example would have been Casemiro, and then you got the in between guy, McTominay, and then the number 10. But I
agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I do agree. I'm not going to dispute that. I do agree in terms of the system wise, but I think we could have 4-1-2 rather than 4-2. It's just like whatever we do have in that midfield, we will all pretty much determine as soon as we see the selection tomorrow. But I'm just in the back of that though. Like if you see this game tomorrow, there are good choices on the bench for these players, and obviously Pellistri as well, young signing. Would you like to see them come off the bench tomorrow? Or would you think maybe it's not unlikely to happen? We'll go with you, Kevin, on that one. Based on the young players in the squad, ideally, how many do you potentially get off the bench?
We have so many wingers, don't we? You can play in it. I mean, you Garnacho's there, Pellistri's there. Could Pellistri play as a 10? I'm not sure, but so someone who's got. I mean, Elanga's got the short end of the stick here, really, hasn't he? He finished last season so well, and now it's just his position is so. There's so many people there who can play in his position. It's almost been harsh on him, but I think Elanga will play, and I'd love to see the young players come off the bench. Now, if you're playing McTominay and Casemiro, and then hopefully not Fred as well, but if you're playing 2 centre defensive midfielders, are you going to get goals early to bring those guys on? Is the question. But I'd love to see Zidane, Iqbal, and either Garnacho or Pellistri, because we just don't see enough of them really. It seems to be the same 11 constantly, and that's what's causing the tiredness, especially Dallo, Eric and Ericsson, and probably Martinez as well.
Yeah, he is wiped out.
Sorry, I think there has been rotation, but I think when a new manager comes in, he's going to try and suss his best 11, right? So what he's done is he's had his 11 for the first 2 games. That's not worked, and he's not been scared to then drop players. Okay, so then he's had his next thought of a best 11 that's won 4 games on the bounce, going really well, and at that point you always play your best 11 until you are knackered or you make a mistake, which we saw against City. So then he's changed it up again. I think when as a new manager, that's the process that you go through in order to A, suss out your best 11, B, get that rotation in as and when you need it, because usually players make a mistake when they're tired, right? And you go from there. So I think you're absolutely right, buddy, that you will see some sort of fringe players tomorrow, and I think it's absolutely dependent on how many goals we are in front. We should be beating this team 5-6-0. There's absolutely no question about that. We made it very difficult for ourselves last week. But if we can get 2, 3, 4 goals early, which we absolutely should do, I think you'll see players like Garnacho, Iqbal, and possibly another winger as well. But I think you might see Elanga start personally, but if he doesn't, he would definitely come on.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in the back of Exhibit's comment, United did try 3 centre-backs, 5-3-2, right? Is it failed or no? I forget. We did actually play a 3-4-3 against Everton, like to start the match. We actually played from the get-go in a 3-4-3, and it worked to perfection.
Shaw tucked in and allowed Dallo to get forward, didn't it?
Yeah. The only issue we had with it, though, is when he changed it to the back 4 in the second half. That's when we didn't see a lot of Anthony. His game drifted because of changing system. Like the other players were so quick to adapt. He sort of struggled with it. Not that it was much of a problem, but I actually liked the fact that we operated using the 3-4-3 because it gave us more of control of the ball and possession, especially when we transitioned up the field. Like Everton just couldn't cope with us, and I think we could potentially see that in a few games to come. But against Omonia, I'd rather we go with the back 4 and just hold the ball down. Exhibit saying all 3 games will be though Newcastle, current form, Spurs, Son on fire. Yippee has scored tonight, I'm pretty sure, and Chelsea up and down. Yeah, they are up and down, but they had a very good game last night, although stuff them. They had a very good game last night, and hopefully they get humbled when they play us. On the back of this, though, we're wrapping up in a minute. I'm going to give my quick starting lineup, although it won't really matter in the end because we all know what the manager's like. I've also gone with David De Gea. I'd like to see Lindelof. I would play Shaw. It might sound a bit daft, but I'd actually play Shaw and Malacia together. Malacia in the left back position, Shaw to play as a left centre back, give Martinez a rest, play Varane. Then I'd play in midfield, I'd play Casemiro, I'd play McTominay. It's more likely to be Bruno in front. And then I would play as my front 3 positions. Don't know what you guys think, but I would play Elanga through the middle. I'd play no Evan, not a chance. I'd play Elanga.
I'd be an advocate for that, Evan.
It's not happening. Rashford on the left, and I play Anthony through the right. I think Rashford's been absolutely superb at the moment. He definitely deserved that goal against Everton. How it was a handball, I'll never know. Referees are pathetic. Marc versus Sean in the preview. Don't worry, I might host that one, or I might just get the gloves. Who knows? And you're just wrong, mate. Put Pulisic in your defensive midfield role since you like giving him a good goal. That's your aim. Exhibit here going, I predict Eric Ten Hag will sub in many youngsters in the second half like against Sheriff. Need to score first though. I hope we're 3 or 4-0 up by half time. I hope we are, because I'd make all 5 changes at half time and I'd bring on 5 youngsters at half time. I would. That's just bold, but I'd definitely go for it. Score predictions before we wrap up, guys. What are we going with?
I'm going to go with 5-1. And the reason I put 1 there is I'm not sure I just don't know the way the defense is going to play, and if he makes multiple switches around, it might cause a mistake somewhere.
And who you reckon is going to score all 5 goals then? Or are you predicting Rashford to score 5?
Well, I mean, on Rashford's goal against Everton, it's coming to the point where we need VAR for the VAR. It's getting so bad.
Very true.
Yeah, but
Keith's going 4-1.
It's impossible to predict because just not knowing at all who will be the front three. I can't tell you. I can't say who the goals are going to come from.
But you're sticking with your 5-1.
Yeah.
I like it. Keane's going 4-1, and Evan Fahey's saying the American Wonder Boy can play any position. That's right. Giovanni Reina can play in any position. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Marco, what about yourself, buddy?
Yeah, I'm going to go 5-0. Honestly, when I say I'm not being optimistic, but when I say that United should be beating these teams, we absolutely should. I don't think Erik ten Hag is going to make the same mistakes again. I don't think he will utilise that same midfield, and I think that he will control the game from the middle. Now, with that in mind, and obviously with the players that I said would be in the starting 11, I'm going to go Bruno as first goal scorer. 5-0, I think, and I think we'll keep a clean sheet.
Nice. So Keane's saying 4-1 United, Bruno, Lindelof, Anthony, Elanga. Very interesting. Exhibit, I'll come to yours in just a minute, but I'm also going to go for a little bit of carnage in my prediction. I'm going 4-0, Anthony double, Elanga to score, and I'm going for Luke Shaw to score. But here's the carnage part. Neil Lennon to get sent to the bloody stands where he belongs because he's an absolute gimp. I absolutely despise him. Exhibit's going, also, your thought on Garnacho. I saw United versus Omonia before, and their new wing-back is slow. Would love to see Garnacho, Anthony, and Rashford. No disrespect to Ronaldo, but we need him against Newcastle. I agree. I don't think we necessarily need to play Ronaldo. I would actually play Garnacho ahead of him. It's not an issue. I don't think there's a big deal to that. I don't think there is. And a guard to score for Sheriff. That would be nice. Martial injury, need to Ronaldo less game time. That is circumstantial. We can still play Rashford through the middle. Elanga can play through the middle, pressing from the front. Like, there are options. But, yeah, I don't think we should have to play Ronaldo every single opportunity we can get, but we can definitely use him if necessary. And Exhibit saying Ronaldo screamer. I'd be okay with that. I would certainly be okay with that. Okay, so I'll answer this one because it definitely was addressed today. Thoughts on the Sky Sports situation with the Ireland women's team? Well, first of all, congratulations for qualifying for the World Cup. At my expense, I will give you that one. Congratulations for qualifying. Second of all, I know we've discussed it in our group chat today. I think it's completely unacceptable how this has actually transpired. I think the pundit in question, I don't know his name, and frankly, I could not care what his name is. I think he's got it horribly wrong, especially how I thought he was quite patronising towards the Irish women's player. Sorry, I don't know her name, but I thought it was very patronising, especially when he brought the wasn't he? Yeah, there was no need for him to bring up an education comment when, especially how history of course Britain, obviously, of course, but Ireland as well, especially between, obviously it's an English presenter, there is a lot of history there, bad blood between England and Ireland over that sort of discussion. I don't think it was necessary at all. I think what he's done there is he has certainly brought more bad blood than he should have done. I don't want to deep dive into it because obviously it's not the best discussion to go, but I'm certainly for the women's team rather than him. I'm more for her than him. I don't think she should have done the interview. The minute that question got asked, she should have taken the mic off and walked. If anything, that would have shut him up. That definitely would have shut him up. Chelsea fan watching a United closet United fan. Evan's a closet for every football team. It's okay. We know that. I'm only kidding, Evan. I'm only kidding. And Evan saying yes, and he's giving me the respect massively. We are going to wrap it there, guys. But if you do have any comments on that one, let us know. Get your thoughts on the Ireland team's situation at the minute. What do you guys think? I, for one, am on the side of the Irish women's team. It was not their fault. It was done against them. I don't have any quarrel with it. They beat us in 90 minutes. They're away at the World Cup. That's all that matters in the end. The Ireland women's team won. Fair play to them. We'll be getting drunk as we always do when we don't go to any tournament, but at least we had the Euros last year. But look where that ended. But on the back of that, it has been an amazing show tonight. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Obviously, Jamie had to bail out early, but that's not his fault. His internet connection was extremely awful for him tonight, which is unlikely. It's normally my fault. Funny that, eh? But I will give one last comment here to Exhibit. Did you guys read? Many people, I think that's meant to mean tweets. I don't know. But many people talked about Rudiger injury, even though Maximiliano Bretos and some pundits said that Shakhtar player needs to be jailed. I've got no idea. So I cannot really comment on it. Murder attempt issue. I don't know. I haven't seen any of this, but I'll certainly try and look into it if I can. But guys, my two guests tonight have been absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Marc, you can find here as well. Kevin, regular guest when he can. Obviously, it's good to have him on. Nice wee chat, obviously. Good to see you, young man. But other than that, it's been a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys, and we'll see you all later.